All right, so it's about 2 or 3 after here. We'll get rolling. Try to get you in and out here on a Sunday evening. This is Alex Scandalis. I wanted to welcome everybody to our opening season conference call here. I know we have some people who are from all over the country. This call in particular will deal with some of the details of working at Lakepoint in Atlanta. Just wanted to welcome you all again. Just wanted to give a little bit of a summary from last year. In our first year, I think we accomplished some really great things, just in terms of everything that goes into running a baseball facility in a positive manner and making sure that the umpiring end of it, which is obviously our responsibility, is handled certainly as well as it possibly can be. And there's a ton of people to thank for that, from the PBR people all the way down through, our administrative staff but down to you guys. And there's no chance that we would have any success if it wasn't for a dedicated bunch of umpires who showed up every day through COVID, through waiting until we were ready to start, through everything. The heat you guys deal with, the humidity, and I just want to say from kind of the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it, because, again, there's no success without umpires wanting to be able to work and be a part of this. So tonight we'll review some of the things that went really well last year. Certainly we will touch upon some things that I think we can improve, and, you'll hear from Rob and Todd about things they think can improve as well. And we'll set the stage for the 2021 season here. On this call, you'll hear from a few people. You'll hear from me. You'll hear from Rob and Todd. And you'll hear from our director of training, Brian Brauer. I'm hoping, and I just can't tell here through all of the numbers I see, I believe we're supposed to either have Matt Yarber or Kyle Coletta from PBR on the call tonight. I think they were going to try to make it. And are either of you guys on the call tonight? I just wanted to introduce you and give you a chance to make a few comments.
Yeah,
Kyle, I think I see you.
This is Kyle. Yep.
Yeah, you show up as Maids as your name, if you can believe that. I have no idea why.
My mother's house cleaning business.
Oh, there you go.
So if you guys are in Chicago and need a house cleaned, hit me up.
Well, welcome. I just wanted to give you a chance to, you were kind of in there every day with these guys through the grind of it. So just wanted you to give some thoughts from your perspective and, give you a couple minutes here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You guys that are new to Lakepoint this year, like I said, my name's Kyle Coletta. I'm working for PBR on the ground for all the tournament stuff at Lakepoint, just kind of overseeing all that. For you guys that were there last year, probably dealt with me in some aspect. I think we did a pretty good job of figuring out names and faces and working with you guys as best as we can. So, for me, my biggest thing is, obviously I have to oversee the tournament stuff, but want to make your guys' lives as easy as possible in any way that I can. So obviously you have Todd and the other guys there to help, but, we're all pulling from the same rope from the PBR end too. So if you guys do need anything, I'm there all day, every day. So, feel free to come up and say hello. Obviously we'll probably be around each other a bunch. So I think there were some things Todd may bring up later that I can kind of come in on. But, first and foremost, just thank you guys for last year. Obviously, this is our first year working with you guys as the group. And from, obviously the standard of the umpire stuff on the field was awesome. But the way you guys handle yourself on and off the field, very professional. And that goes a really, really long way, more than everything that goes on the field. So, again, appreciate everything you guys did in year one. And, we're looking forward to a packed year this year with some good quality baseball. So we're excited.
Appreciate it, Kyle. Thanks, man. I know when Todd gets rolling here in a little bit, I'm sure there'll be some points you want to chime in on too. always looking to continue to improve as a group, whether it be on the field or some little things that make your lives easier. I will say we had our call with Grand Park in Indianapolis on Thursday evening, and to all the umpires kind of on the call now and listening on the back end, in this business, I've never been associated with a group that felt that the umpires were as much a part of the team as PBR and bullpen and PBRT, and that certainly makes our lives a lot easier. There's plenty of tournament providers out there that feel like they hire someone to do the umpires and they wash their hands of it, and we're kind of on our own. So we're very lucky to have them as the people that we work with at our three biggest facilities, and then also in some of their tournaments all over the country. So, and I think one of the feedback is, as we've talked as a group on the executive level with our team, and then also with the executive level kind of people at PBR and at bullpen, one of the things that kept coming up was the umpiring was sufficient, the umpiring was better, but the one thing that they were very impressed with was just the quality of people that we were bringing to the table, the quality of people that were involved. And certainly in this space, a lot of times being the best person you can be is more important than being the best umpire. It's certainly the travel baseball space is very different, as many of you know, and it's a business, and professionalism on everybody's part is obviously much appreciated. So thank you very much again for that. We're pretty excited in 2021 to have a new addition to our staff, and that's Brian DeBrauer, and Brian will be our director of training, and he'll be working with you guys and gals throughout the year, especially here in Lakepoint. We'll get to a point where we can say this in Creekside and Grand Park as well, but we certainly have the greatest access to video of anywhere at Lakepoint, and video will be one of the keys to what Brian is doing and the products that he's helping you guys with and helping improve, help our staff, help everybody get to the next level, or whatever level that might be for you, if it's just being the best you can at whatever level you're at. And certainly one of the smartest people in umpire training I've ever been around. So I will give Brian a couple minutes here to introduce himself and give you guys a sample of kind of the stuff he'll be doing before we start playing games, and then during the time we're playing games and into the summer and fall. Brian?
Thanks, Alex, and hello, everyone. It really is my pleasure to be joining the team in an official capacity. I kind of dabbled last year. More than anything, I'm really glad to be part of a group that cares about doing what's right for the umpires and what's right for the game. Just a little background about my umpiring story. I got serious about umpiring about 15 years ago. Had a short pro ball career, was released out of AAA, and since then I've worked as both an umpire and instructor for United Collegiate Umpires, as well as a few other NCAA conferences. Over that time, I've been fortunate to learn from a lot of great people, and my hope is to pass some of that stuff along to you all. Speaking of which, I'd like to introduce two things today. The first is the upcoming release of our United Mantras. These are going to be a series of simple thoughts that you can take with you onto the field every time that you work. Understanding the mantras and consistently evaluating your work by using them will almost certainly make you a better prepared umpire. These mantras are not complicated, but simple reminders about fundamentals that will make us better. Things such as proper use of eyes and how employing it will fix our timing without having to use artificial delay tactics. The reality for a travel ball umpire is that a large percentage of the games that you work won't have a supervisor's eyes on it, and so you need to be your own evaluator. The mantras that we're going to introduce will serve as a guideline to do just that. Item number 2 that I want to put in your head for the season is about being a good partner. There are many ways to be a good partner, but specifically, I want to talk about our pre- and post-game conversations. When we share openly with each other, the level of all of our work rises, and we, as umpires, and the game are better for it. We're going to be producing a printable card that you can keep with you in your lineup card holder that will serve as a guideline for these conversations. Our hope is that you guys will embrace the opportunity to share your thoughts in a constructive manner. That's the key piece, is being constructive. And remember that there's something to learn from every game and every partner. I'm really excited to be in a position to serve all of you. Like Alex mentioned, Lakepoint in particular, with our access to video, gives us an incredible opportunity, and I really can't wait to take advantage of that. If you have specific concerns or training items that you'd like to see addressed, please don't hesitate to get in touch, and everyone have a great season.
Thanks, Brian. For everybody kind of into 2021 here, a lot of us will be on the same umpire syntax in terms of email. So Brian is Brian at unitedumpires.org, and Todd is Todd at unitedumpires.org, and Rob and Alex and Derek. So we've tried to, I know in the first year we've had some different email addresses out there that we've used, but all of those are first name and then at unitedumpires.org. So certainly, everyone is a good one to file away there in the back of your mind, but Brian, especially if something comes up where you're, wondering about a rule or you're wondering about a procedure or some sort of mechanic, it's a good one to have in the back of your brain there. So I'm going to roll into 2 or 3 things here, and then I'm really going to turn the show over to Rob and Todd. Just in general, our Lakepoint game fees are based on our time as they have been in the past. So our 2-hour time limit games will be at $64, and our 145s will be at $50. So that's no change from last year. I know just the way the season went, we didn't really have a ton of 145s out there, but that will be our procedure, and certainly from a standpoint of Lakepoint and PBR, I truly appreciate, and I know all the umpires do too, them working with us to compensate us when in those long Atlanta rain delays and lightning delays when we stick around. So again, it's great to have a partner who understands that, certainly wants us to be around when the lightning does stop, but understands that some days we stop at 6 o'clock and we sit there till 10:30, and we do appreciate that, and it's good to have a partner like that. From a United standpoint, in terms of registration and dues, there's no change to the way we're going to handle that. If you're assigned games and you pay your dues before your first assigned game, it's a $75 one-time all-year dues payment, good for everything that we do. And if you don't pay it ahead of time and we wind up taking it out of your check, it's $100. So, if you'll see an email here coming up very quickly from me after we get through these calls with some information on how to pay that if you guys are interested in paying in advance. As many of you know, we have changed to Arbiter for 2021. Every scheduling program out there has its good, has its bad, and over a long period of time, I've probably seen the good and bad of a lot of them. So we're switching to Arbiter, probably mostly because of me and running payroll and some of the reports that I'm used to. It looks like from going through all of the registrations that I've gone through, probably 90% of you had an email address that was in Arbiter in some way. because you had used Arbiter before. So I'm hoping that transition is rather smooth. The one thing I will point out that's different than ref schedule is in Arbiter, if you don't close dates, they're all open. Obviously, in referee schedule, it's the opposite. So we will need some diligence, and I know Rob and Todd will hit on some of that stuff with block dates, but I certainly will point that out up front. From the perspective of registration, we have a single Google form out there right now, which will serve for our 2021 registration. I know last year with everything going on, I hit you guys with 5-6 Google forms for direct deposit, for registration, for this place, that place. So I was able this year with a little bit more time, probably a little bit more of a feel, to put together one Google form that has everything we need on it, from email addresses and home information to direct deposits and all that good stuff. So that one Google sheet is out there, and certainly no matter whether you umpired in 2020 with us or not, for 2021 we'll need you to fill that out. So I know I do see a couple names on here who have not filled it out yet for this year. As of about an hour ago, if you registered and you filled out that Google form, you have an Arbiter invite from us. So that's kind of the key to how you know if your registration went through. If you don't have an Arbiter invite at this point, you probably didn't have a registration go through. So please make sure that you're taking care of that. Our payment process will really remain the same as it was in 2020. I do everything that I can to process a payroll on Monday following the weekend. I do try to update you guys if that falls behind by a day or so because I'm traveling or because something's going on. But I try to be honest with that piece of it and try to get you guys paid on Monday. We'll have a couple different payment methods. They're really the same as last year. I bank with Bank of America. If you bank with Bank of America, that's a very easy transfer for us to handle. I will also use another bank called Blue Vine this year. So if you see direct deposits from there, that's also us. We'll take PayPal accounts again and certainly do transfers that way. And then the last option is a paper check. Just please keep in mind if you do choose that option that no matter what I do through online banking, those take 7 days to get there. So if I pay on a Monday, you're not going to have that check at the earliest till the next Monday. And it's not me writing a check and putting it in the mail. It's me using Bank of America, and for whatever bulk mail they use, it's 7 days. So if that's something that you want to try to avoid, get on PayPal, give us your bank account, and we can make sure that we don't have that problem. United hats. So last year, everyone received a hat with a registration. You will not receive a hat with your registration this year. So go in your closet, look at your United hat. If it looks good and you're ready to go, okay, you don't have to get one. If you're in a position where your hat's, looks like it's been worn for 210 games or something, let's get on Stripes and Strikes and get hats. Those guys will have 4, 6, and 8-stitch hats available. I know we gave you all a 6-stitch last year, and some different umpires had issues getting their mask off with a 6-stitch, and we kind of allowed you to maybe use a different hat if you're having trouble, but would like to get everybody in United hats, whether they be 4, 6, or 8-stitch hats this year. Last thing that I will cover is the same way we did last year in the registration form. You'll be asked to consent to a background check. That is something we perform, just so you guys kind of understand how that works. We use People Trail to perform those, which is the same company that the NCAA uses. I submit names and social security numbers, and then I get a hit back from them with either a green light or a yellow light. Green light, obviously, we're good. and a yellow light, they'll then kind of outline for me what caused that yellow light. In a lot of instances, I will clear them myself. It tripped the report, but it's not a concern for what I'm doing. Every once in a while, I will ask the question to my boss, are you okay with this? And of course, if there's anything that really draws any attention or may preclude anyone, we'll obviously discuss that with you. I'm happy to say in 2020, we didn't have any background check issues that prevented anyone from umpiring. So I'm hoping that's the case again. So that's really it on some of the high-level admin pieces. We will come back at the end with a couple points of emphasis, and I will open up to questions. But in the meantime, I want to turn it over to Rob and Todd here to talk about some of the specifics, strengths and weaknesses, and what 2021 is going to look like at Lakepoint.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate it. Well, guys, I'm happy to sit down and talk about a few things with this, and I'm happy that everybody got on the call, and I'm looking forward to the start of the season. Assigning games, it's, Alex kind of touched on this, is just keeping your updates, your schedule's updated on Arbiter. That's really crucial now that you're wide open. If you don't go in and block some of those days, you're going to get a lot of assignments that you can't work, and that causes more work on all of us. One thing that's going to be really cool this year is, and I'm looking forward to it, is linking games together. So we'll link, 3 or 4 games or a doubleheader or whatever it may be. So you only have to accept it once instead of having to accept every game individually like we did in the past. Something that Todd and I were talking about was like pictures on your profile. It always helps, especially with new umpires and guys that we've talked to, and we go and assign them games, and then when they show up at the field, I want to be able to put a name with the face. So that'll also help us on Arbiter as well. Another thing is kind of just if you have an issue with the schedule, or you have some kind of problem with something that we've linked together, and you can only work, let's say, the first 3, and we've linked 4 games together, give Todd a call first. If you can't get a hold of him, then reach out to me, and we'll make sure we get it taken care of for you. And that's really, just communicating with us so we can take care of the issue. I guess the next thing I have is we'll be starting in the spring. First weekend's the 21st of February. We also have the 28th and the 6th. Those are our Sunday series, so they're just going to be just Sundays only for those 3 weeks. Then the spring weekends will load up starting March 12th through the 14th. And anytime you guys can help, I know we got high school baseball, and you've got your NCAA schedules as well, and all those college things out there. If you can help on any of the days in the spring, it's much appreciated. The one thing I kind of wanted to go over also was we're going to have a ton of offsites this season. I say a ton, but 6 some days. Some days there will be 4, and it's just going to depend on the day. So offsites, just know that we're going to need you to be there on time, and there's really not a whole lot we can do. If a guy doesn't show up on an offsite, it's really going to put a bad image on us, or if the guy is late. So we have to be mindful of that when we assign, to make sure that those guys are going to show up on time. Todd, I'll let you go over a few things, and then I'll get back at it in a little bit.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate it. Really just wanted to touch on a couple of things as far as just the culture of what we want to accomplish with United as a whole, but things that I felt like we did a really good job at in Atlanta last year. Just that we all have one common goal of our common goal needs to be that we're working in an environment of learning and trying to get better. We've all got a job to do, but, just like Brian talked about being a good partner, we all want to help each other get better. Brian's probably going to talk more about that in the coming few days as far as the mantra stuff, and so I won't beat that. Work with our PBR staff. Kyle touched on it. We're all pulling on the same rope. If we've got an issue on the field or around the field with fans or whatever, if the PBR staff is on site and is dealing with it, let them deal with it. Just get away from it and let them deal with it. Contact information, if the first and best option is if you can email us. If you need to call, it's short timing. Give us a call. If we don't answer, please leave a message. And that doesn't mean, hey, this is Rob, give me a call back. I need a detailed message of, hey, this is Rob. The 2 games I have at 10 and 12:30 on Tuesday, I can't cover. Please get back in touch with me as soon as possible. So hopefully at the point that we get back in touch with you, we're already have taken care of that. So, and then really the only other thing is in that contact situation, give me a call or email first. Give me an hour or so to get back to you if you don't hear from me. Then shoot Rob an email or a phone call if you got schedule issues or anything like that. If you got a payroll issue, just go straight to Alex, and Alex deals with all of that. So other than that, Rob, that's what I've got right now.
All right, Todd. Some of the I can't even speak right now. Expectations that we have is uniforms. We wanted you to match your partner. That's hats included. We do have a few different hats, and we allowed you guys to wear different hats, but that have our United logos on them. But those all have to match. That is one of our main things here. Alex did go over this, but the 4, the 6, the 8-stitch hats will be available at Stripes and Strikes. Cleaning your shoes. Now we deal with a lot of turf fields over there, so shoes being dirty, those are going to stick out like sore thumbs on that turf field, especially if you just did a high school game the night before and decided you weren't going to clean them. So clean your shoes, press your pants, and be professional, at all times. The Atlanta traffic is what it is. You guys all that are in Atlanta, you guys understand what that is. We want you to be at the complex 45 minutes to an hour before your start of your game. With having a lot of these games kind of time-wise, if we can move something up, they're going to move something up, so we want to make sure you have enough time to get to your game and somebody else isn't trying to pick it up because you're not there yet. So get there early, make sure your stuff is taken care of. We want to be on the field 10 minutes before the start of the first game of the day, and that goes with saying every game is we really want to be there early. We don't want to get in a caught from behind a situation to where, we're 2 hours ahead behind schedule because a guy showed up late in the morning. So that's just something that we want to be there early and get out on the field early. Todd kind of went over the contact information, and I'm just going to go over it just a little bit more. Is like Todd said, it's leave a message, shoot me a text. So when I call you back and you want to talk to me, I already have an answer for you, so I can give it to you, and just you've already know what's going on. So we don't have to sit on the phone for 45 minutes to go back over what you wanted to talk about. We're all really busy in this stuff, and we try to do the best we can, but just know that if you leave me a message, I will get back with you as soon as I can, and we'll try to resolve the situation. if we call you, it's extremely important that you respond, meaning pick up the phone. We're not reaching out to you just because we want to, shoot the bull. We're reaching out to you because we have, a concern of where you're at, or we've got, this game's an hour ahead of time or 45 minutes ahead of time. So if we reach out to you, I would appreciate that you pick up the phone. All right, Todd, you're up.
Thanks, Rob. So, guys, just to cover a couple of things that the PBR staff at Lakepoint's asked me to touch on. Make sure that you're coming in the back gate, the umpire gate off of Stars Way, and you're not going in through their maintenance facility. We're going to have some new trash receptacles around the locker room, so let's make sure that we get our trash in that. We're going to have a butt can for cigarettes, cigar butts. Let's make sure that those all go in the sand bucket. And then one of the big things is on the field, let's make sure that we get our trash and our water bottles off the field when we come off the field. It kind of turned into an issue early in the fall where water bottles were just getting left there on the field. And, so let's just make sure that we're cleaning up after ourselves there on the field, cleaning up after ourselves in the locker room. If you spill something, get it up, make sure the trash goes in the trash can. I think we did a great job of everybody kind of doing what they needed to do last year and taking the trash out as it needed to happen and cleaning up behind themselves. I've talked with Matt and Kyle at PBR, and they're looking into a porta potty. Then we're also going to have a golf cart that we will be able to use if we need to. And what I would, if we can get to a point to where we don't need to use the bathrooms in the tower, and we have time to put you in a golf cart and take you around to the other bathroom facility that's outside of the playing area, then that would be great. If you're going to dress at your car, just be aware of your surroundings and be aware that the windscreens block the wind. They don't block people's view. Other than that, I think that's really all I've got on that stuff, and I think we're going to go back to Alex.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Part of what I get to do, which I only get to do because of the great work by our staff and our umpires, is I get to show up at facilities and interact with you all, but more importantly also kind of get to be the guy that walks around and watches from a distance and sees some of the things that are going on, and maybe I talk to Todd and Rob and Derek about them, and some of them I kind of just put in the back of my mind because they're not a huge deal at the time, but when we have an instance to kind of reset and reload for a new year, they're certainly something that I like to talk about. And I would say at Lakepoint, of the three facilities, it's probably the facility with the least amount of problems with this, but just cell phones in general. So I just want to touch on it, and I can be the bad guy. I'm okay with that. Every once in a while, I think at Lakepoint too, we see some umpires who are in the cell phone on the field, even if it's between innings. There's no place for that. Our cell phones should be in the locker room, should be locked in our cars if we don't want to leave it out in the locker room. And I know that the first thing someone's going to say is that, I'm using it as my timing device. Well, unfortunately, I get to be the bad guy and say, if you need it for timing, go buy a $5 stopwatch. Okay, so we don't have a lot of room or a lot of leeway there in using cell phones on the field. There's no need for it, and it's something that I would really like to clean up here in the next year. And I certainly understand we have umpires that have things going on at home and emergencies, we had an instance in Indianapolis where someone's wife was pregnant and we didn't know when she was going to go into labor. And certainly if things like that come up, communicate with us. Todd might say to you, hey, give your wife my cell number. If something goes on, we'll come get you, or, just bring it out there and we understand. So just work with us on that, please. It's just from a professional manner, and especially at Lakepoint where we have people and our bosses really who are up in the tower. If they're watching, you don't miss anything. When you're in ground level, you might miss someone doing something because it's tough to see. But when our bosses and I'm up in the tower, we don't miss someone on a cell phone or anything like that. So let's just do our best. Get those stopwatches if you need them, and go from there. Robin, Todd talked about on-time umpires. I can't emphasize that enough, especially when we're talking about off-sites and things like that. I know the worst feeling is worrying about whether someone's going to show up. So don't make Todd or Rob or me have that feeling looking around for you when you're supposed to be there. So just continue to work on that. Again, not a huge problem at Lakepoint, but I always like to mention it. Rain delays, I know that, you guys at Lakepoint, you're going to have some significant rain delays that are just going to pop up. That is what it is, and I really appreciate you bearing with us through that. And even in my time there, when we did have some rain delays, I would see someone say, hey, Todd, Alex, I'm just going to run up to the gas station. We're probably going to be 5-10 minutes. And that's a good way to think about it. If you're going to pop up to Chick-fil-A or to wherever during a rain delay and it looks like it's going to be, well, that's fine. But again, communication, just let us know so that, I don't know, if the skies open up in terms of sun and all of a sudden we're ready to go again, we kind of have an idea where you went and when you'll be back. And I think that's really important. Last thing I really have on this kind of improvement stuff is just fans in general. We have a situation at Lakepoint, obviously, on really all 8 fields where they kind of surround us. There's stands, obviously, from dugout to dugout, and even on some of the fields, the picnic bench where they sit kind of beyond the dugout. So there's fans everywhere. Just be aware that they can hear everything that you say. So, in terms of what you say, how you carry yourself, be professional, understand that, even if you're muttering something to yourself that you don't think people are hearing, they might be hearing. So just be cognizant of that. And also, one of the things that drives me a little crazy is the idea of taking a water break next to the fans behind home plate. If you have a water cooler back there, I totally understand that. If you have something up the side as a base umpire, but get into a habit of getting your water, doing what you need to do, and getting back to where you need to between innings. Don't make it a huddle. Don't make it 2 umpires near a screen, near a cooler, near a fan. Just keep all those things in the back of your mind. Kind of shifting to a couple other things. I wanted to let everybody know that 1099s were sent out via email probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and my software indicates to me whether someone has opened that 1099 or not. I have quite a few, well over 100 umpires that have not opened their 1099 yet. So those were emailed out. Number one, I would say if you think you were over 600 getting a 1099 and haven't seen it in your email yet, check your spam for me. A couple people reported that went to spam. And then next, if you really don't have it still, haven't seen it in spam, shoot me an email and I can just resend it to you. So again, those were not paper mail. They will not be mailed in the mail. They will be emailed only. So again, the majority of you have opened them. Everything's fine. But like I said, still have kind of over 100 that I'm waiting to get open. So take a look for those. I know people probably are hoping they don't come, but they definitely are coming, and they were sent out. So obviously don't want me to send it into the IRS and you to never know about it. So if you haven't seen it and you don't see it in your spam, get in touch with me via email. Stay with us on social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook. We've got United Umpires, the regular Facebook page, and then we've got obviously the private group. Feel free to, at this point, invite people to that private group who you think might be interested, or if you're a working umpire and you haven't been a part of that, we do a lot of updates in there that we don't do out to kind of the mass general public. So we will open that up, keep that open for a while, and then as we get into the season, we'll start to shrink it down to just the umpires who are working for us, so that everyone's not getting bombarded with stuff that pertains to us during the season. The apparel store that just opened, a lot of people have asked about some different polo shirts and jackets and half-sleeve stuffs and all that kind of stuff. So that is out there on Stripes and Strikes when you go for your hats. If you're looking for something, again, no obligation to buy a single thing like that, just something that a lot of people asked for, and we certainly wanted to oblige and have if people want it. So that's, from my perspective, that is really all I have this evening. I will give, Kyle, if you're still on the call, is there anything that you wanted to close with, just in terms of anything you heard that you wanted to add to, or add anything that we might have missed that's really important to PBR and to the facility?
No, I think Todd covered everything. Biggest thing with that entry and exit point, obviously if you guys are there for 8 a.m. games, like we don't have a key for that gate. The Lakepoint staff does. So if you guys do get there early and it's not open, shoot Todd a text or something and he'll relay it over to me and we'll get those guys to open it ASAP. Aside from that, I think everything was touched upon, but looking forward to this year and appreciate everything you guys did last year.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for joining us. We do appreciate that. And to everyone for the year, most of this is continuing to do what we've been doing, and make some slight improvements and just continue the program along. Obviously, first year here that we'll really have a spring in terms of facilities and being open, and then we'll push into the summer and fall, which we all experienced last year. So what I'll do at this time, and this is something that I've done in the past, I'll open this up to questions, but here's kind of how I ask you to guide yourself in terms of questions. Number one, I ask that if you ask a question, just say your name first, just so we know who you are. And then the second part of that, when you think about whether the question should be asked, just if it pertains to a large group or a procedure, certainly ask it. I'm sure there's things we've missed. If it's something that pertains just to you, send Rob, Todd, me an email later on, just so we're not wasting everybody's time. And I don't mean wasting, but taking everyone's time with, a specific issue to one person. So at this time, I will open it up, and here we go.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Go ahead.
Good evening. Good evening, gentlemen. This is Damian Galling. I had a question in regards to the apparel. So I went on Stars and Stripes, and, the hats are listed at $20, but then I went to buy one, and the shipping was $9.99. So I'm like, I might as well get two if I'm going to pay $10 shipping. I added a second hat, and it went to $13. So is there any possibility of hat or, small type of apparel being sold on site?
I'm glad that you brought that up. I think, Damien, are you in the Facebook group? Okay,
yeah.
So to everybody here, and thanks for bringing this up because it was something I didn't touch on. When you go to Stripes and Strikes, whether it be hats, whatever you're ordering there, When you do check out, if you would like your hat and or your apparel delivered directly to Lakepoint, so that means that you'll either pick it up the first time you work, or if you want to swing by Lakepoint, they are offering, no matter what you order, a $5 shipping rate. And the way that you would activate that is listed on the Facebook site. It's a little odd because we had to trick the Stripes and Strikes shipping kind of formula, but basically you'll have an opportunity when you check out to list under the company site. It'll be your name, and the next line will be company, and on that company line I want you to put either Atlanta or Lakepoint, if that's which facility you'd like it shipped to. And then from there, what we'll need you to do actually on the shipping address is put in 800 Cushman Street, and that's in Fairbanks, Alaska. And again, it's just a trick so that obviously we can get the stuff to you. And as soon as you put that in, you will see the next screen. Basically, instead of the regular shipping cost, will just show $5. So that's a way around that. Again, order as much or as little as you want. It's going to be $5 instead of $9.99. Plus, as you keep adding, the weight goes up. It costs more. So we offered that hopefully as a way to make things easier for everybody. And then also on the Facebook page, there's if you go through down to the Apparel Store, there is a video there that I put together because I know that's crazy off the wall in terms of why would you put in an Alaska address. But I put together a little video there so everybody can see exactly how you do it and make sure it gets to the right site. So I hope that helps, Damien.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot.
No worries. All right.
Hey guys, this is Matt Dreyer. Just got a quick question for you. I saw that you guys were doing the college group up in the Northeast this year. What's the process of trying to develop into getting into that organization?
Matt, that would be something that certainly you can shoot me an email about at Alex@United Umpires, and I'll be happy to get with you, specifically on that. I have had a couple people, ask me about that. What I will say is, United Collegiate has been around for quite a while now, and the conferences and leagues that we do assign it's very regional. We don't have budgets, we don't have travel money, things like that. So that's the short answer. You need to really try to get into some of the college groups that are in your area. And we've, in the last year, in both Hoover and Lakepoint, offered some clinics where some of the regional evaluators as well as assigners in the area have been on site to help umpires and kind of give them an idea of what it takes to succeed, in the Southeast in college baseball. And I think you'll find also that, breaking into college baseball at the junior college NAIA level, that really is a pretty regional experience. It's not really until we get to, higher level Division I baseball where people may be traveling across the country to work baseball games. So certainly my advice to anybody who's looking to break into college baseball is, you have to really get with the regional groups in your area, whether that be Tony's group or, the Tennessee guys with Darryl, or, Mike McCray out of Alabama. Certainly some of you guys in South Georgia, it might be Florida Collegiate. So, those are my pieces of advice on that. And just in terms of United Collegiate, we don't have a ton of opportunities for, and really not any for non-regional, people that live outside of the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic. It just is kind of not doable with where we're at with those conferences.
Makes sense. I appreciate you, brother.
Yep.
Alex, I had a quick question. This is Jim Strohs in Atlanta. How you doing?
I'm good, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing great. I wanted to ask you, there was a fantastic opportunity for the Atlanta guys to attend a camp this past fall with Jim Jackson and Mike McCray and other field instructors, and it just looked like a terrific opportunity. Will that opportunity be available again this fall, and when will those dates be announced so we can try to schedule and stagger the other camps that, we're kind of pulled in the direction of having to go to? Unfortunately, I missed that camp, and had I known a little bit sooner, I would have been able to try to juggle that around. But will there be upcoming camps like that in the future?
Yeah. So thanks, Jim. I think that's a great question, and again, I think with COVID last year, we were, are we going to pull the trigger and do something? Is it okay to be together as a group? How are we going to handle this? And so I think, to your point, some of our timing was certainly delayed. I will tell you, kind of on a general schedule, we're going to try to do at least one event at each of the 3 sites. I know that Kansas City will be in late June. Indianapolis will be the first or second week of July. I believe that's the second week. And we will do Atlanta again in the fall. So our what we're trying to do will be in the fall. There'll really probably be 2 events in the fall. One will be at Lakepoint. And I know that Mike McCray has said he'd be interested in coming over again. And but he also runs his own, using a PBR event in Hoover for his conferences. He uses that event to try to look at some guys. So I would say between those 2 events, if you're trying to get in front of Mike, those are the 2. I would say the event at Lakepoint probably will either be the first or second week of October, and that obviously comes out as we start to look at what their schedule is in terms of I believe last year we used the Upper Class World Series to try to showcase some umpires who were getting ready to work college baseball. So that it will usually coincide with that, which again, first week of October, maybe the second week, just depending on how the calendar falls. But I would say, by the end of June, early July, we'll have an idea of that October date. So that gives you a few months to kind of work around. I know people got to go to Paul's camps and Troy's camps and Tony's camps. I understand all that. So we want to give the opportunity. Mike has the opportunity in Hoover, and then we'll also have one at Lakepoint. So I certainly understand. And if it gets to a point where some of the other camps have started to be announced, certainly you can grab me on the side and just say, hey, I know you haven't announced it, but do you have an idea? And anybody is certainly welcome to do that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hey, this is Randy Thornton. Are you looking to take on some new umpires?
Yes.
How? I mean, as in very green, like as in just putting the uniform on this high school season, or do they need to have a little experience?
I would touch base with Todd kind of offline on some of that, just in terms of what he's looking for, especially as he starts to see what the needs are in the spring, especially where we have some of the younger kids, and just touch base with Todd, and he'll work through that with you and some of the names and the level of experience. And I'm not sure what he's got still on the docket for training and things like that. So certainly touch base with him, Randy, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Thanks, Alex. Good to hear from you again.
Yep. You too. All right, going once, going twice. All right. I want to thank everybody again who is on here and also who will be listening at a later point in time when we get this up. The conference call will be on Facebook here by probably mid to end of the week. So, again, everybody stay safe. We're looking forward to a great year, and thanks for joining us tonight.